Welcome. We're glad you decided to join us today. We're at KPM. My name is Gino Martin. This is my field service technician, Ken Parsons, and we're just going to go through the speed calibration of the TurfStorm and the TurfStorm XL product. One of the first things that we need to understand about this product, getting the speed calibration is crucial to not only the efficiency of the machine, to the overall end product that your end user is going to experience, but also for your profitability. This is something that should be done on a daily basis before you start to go out and spread. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check the tire pressure, and in the rear, for our particular application, we are going to go to 12 PSI. Now Ken is going to go ahead and make sure that we are exactly at 12 PSI.
We are exactly at 12 PSI.
Okay, and the valuable part of this is you can certainly change tires over time to a different tread, or you could have tire wear, but by physically making sure that we check the tire pressure before we do our measurements, none of that's going to matter as long as we're using the proper wheel. So now that we have our rear tire set to 12 PSI, and I'm going to take this moment to point out we are measuring the right rear, which is also the right side of the machine that the digital display is on. That's your reminder that the speed sensor that we're going to be measuring is always on the same side as the digital display. So that's how you can always remember that. So just to confirm, we have verified our rear pressure is set to 12 PSI. Our front tires are set to 20 PSI. And the next thing we need to do is physically measure the height of the tire, Ken. We need to measure it at the highest point, and Ken is using a level. He's going to put it at the highest point because the tread obviously could be a little different depending on pressure. And after he has achieved level, and it looks like we have 19 3/8 inches. Okay, so this is where we get to stop and enjoy some pie.
Pie?
Pie.
3.1415?
Ken is correct. See, if you were thinking apple or cherry, that's not for this video. So, if you remember in math class, once we have the actual diameter measurement, if we measure the diameter of the circle, take that diameter measurement and multiply it times 3.14, being pi, that is going to get us a specific circumference of the tire, which is what we need to be able to program the digital display. So we had 19 3/8 inches. We're going to multiply that times 3.14, and that'll give us our next reading of 60.84. So that was 19.375 for 3/8 times 3.14 gets us to 60.84. And the next thing we're going to do is convert that circumference from inches to millimeters. To do that, we're going to multiply the 60.84 times 25.4. And that is going to give us a total reading of 1545. So just to review, we measured the height to create the diameter. We did the math, gave us the circumference in inches. We then converted it from inches to millimeters, and we've established a 4-digit value. We are now going to go to the digital display, and we're going to make that adjustment. So let's take a look at that. So as you can see, Ken is at the operator's position. Notice we have turned the key switch on, but the machine is not yet running. We don't need it running to perform this function. So Ken, could you please put us into an activation mode? By doing that, he's going to hold all 3 buttons down for about 3 seconds, and the machine is going to flash. Now please take us to the tire section, and you'll notice at the very bottom of the display it says tire. You'll also notice on your display you have 2 arrows. We're going to use these arrows to move the cursor back and forth and then to change the number. Ken, the factory setting was 1635, but we need to change that to our setting of 1545. you'll notice that there is a timeout on the module that we just showed you. So Ken's going to go right back in, and now that he's working, it's going to continue to stay on for us. That is a timeout, just in case you forgot. 1545 is our value, and when he is done, he could hit the mode button to go forward, or he can simply let it time out and go back to the main panel. Very good. So now that we have taken the opportunity to physically do our measurements, we have taken those measurements and properly loaded them into the digital display. The next thing that we do need to do is go through a test process, and we're going to do that as we set our speed control bar, which is right here in front of our drive levers. What we want to do is we want to loosen this up so that it snugly moves with the drive levers. Now what Ken is going to do is he's going to engage the drive levers, and he's going to run a test pattern to verify that he has hit his optimal speed, which for testing purposes is 5 miles per hour. So the moment he does that, he's going to stop the machine, and then he is going to firmly tighten both knobs. Once he has performed that initial test and setup, he will then use a 100-foot run to verify that the machine is tracking straight and holding at a designated 5 miles an hour over that 100-foot area. This would actually conclude the speed calibration of both the TurfStorm and the TurfStorm XL. Both use the same process and same procedure, and it ensures that you're traveling at the right speed as you're laying down your product for optimum results and profit. Hope you found this helpful. Thank you.